Hey everyone, we're the Violet Reality. My name's Casey Rain.
And I'm Kim Camellia, and we are back here with a new video for you. And this video is about the third and fourth day of celebration, so a little recap. And I'm going to give you a little disclaimer on my end. Now, this year's celebration for me was way more emotional than last year's celebration because there was like a lot of footage on which we're going to tell you about that I basically could have been at but never quite made it to, so that made it quite emotional for me, so I'm just going to tell you that beforehand. So yeah.
You might be wondering why this is day 3 and 4 all at once. Well, basically, day 3 is the late track, so you don't get out or on track 1 whether you get put on track 1 if you have press passes. It's the late track on Saturday, so you don't get out of Paisley till 10 p.m. and then obviously you want to go out and party, and we went to the NPG on Saturday night, and then fourth day is then the early track again, so you don't really have any time in between to do like one video for each day. So this is day 3 and 4 all in once, and we'll try and cover as much ground as we can remember. So okay, so Saturday, day 3, we got to Paisley for 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Before that, we went to an in-store with Tamar. Tamar was doing an in-store at Electric Fetus here in Minneapolis. So we went there, caught up with Tamar. St. Paul Peterson was there as well, and Kim Berry.
Yep.
Now, what have those 3 people got in common apart from all working with Prince? They have all been interviewed on our show, Uncovering Prince. So it was cool to see Tamar, Paul, and Kim Berry all in the same place, and loads of fans in the place as well.
Yeah, it was like fully packed.
So we
Okay.
So yeah, we hit that up, and then we headed over to Paisley for 5 p.m. Now the first thing on day 3 of celebration at Paisley Park was the Bob Cavallo panel.
Yep.
Now we were definitely looking forward to this because Bob Cavallo was part of Prince's management team in the 80s during his full ascent to stardom, and so a very sort of cool, like old school, like music business kind of guy. The kind of guy that Prince was just like, if he needed something done, he would call Bob, and Bob would get it done. I mean, that's what a good manager does.
Yep.
So Bob told us the story that he felt like things were going pretty well with them looking after Prince around the time of the 1999 tour, and their contract as management was expiring. So they were like, okay, we'll just send him a contract to keep managing him, and he'll sign it because everything's fine. And Prince comes back with, get me a movie, and then I'll sign it. I'm not going to sign it unless you get me a movie. And bearing in mind that Prince was not a huge star at this point, he'd broken with 1999, but before that he hadn't really had any presence on the pop charts. So 1999 has just happened. Is really the first time he's had presence on the pop charts, and then he goes to his management like, get a movie. Like, even for big time recording artists, that's still like a difficult challenge, let alone somebody who's only really known just recently in the pop world and not known at all in the movie world, so like never made a movie before.
Yep.
So Bob was saying that he ran around Hollywood trying to get deals with like all these people, and got the writers on board and the cinematographers and all this stuff, and they didn't even know that they had a deal to have all the money for the movie until they were already like basically completely shot the movie, paid for a lot of it, paid for out of their own money, and then you need it picked up by a movie company to get it into theaters and marketing, promotion, all that kind of stuff. And kind of up until the very last moment, they still didn't have the deal like finalized, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Prince, it just illustrates that Prince was not a guy that sort of waited around for official things to be given the all clear before he goes ahead. He's doing something. He knows what he wants to do. He's going to go ahead and do it. And sorting out the business stuff, that's your job, Mr. Manager. So yeah, that was probably the most interesting kind of part of Bob's talk.
I think that for like a more sort of like culture, there was like a culture aspect on that as well, but I don't really feel like it's my place to talk about that. I feel like other people can talk about that better, but like the fact that like they wanted to hire this many theaters, and then like some of them, they were like, no, we can't do that because like it might cause riots and all that, because you have to understand that like Prince was this like young black man that was going to make a movie, and that has never really happened before. I think that had not happened before. Like, but then again, I feel like I cannot speak on that, but I feel like there's plenty of people out there, and especially in like blogs that we've seen from like people and like podcasts and all that can speak about that way better than I can.
Yeah, the cool thing that Bob said was that the first test screening they did for Purple Rain. So you know when you make a movie, you do test screenings, and then depending on how the test goes, you might completely change the movie if it's not good. He said that the test scores for Purple Rain, the first time they showed it to a private test audience, was so high that the movie business people accused Bob of like faking it and like paying people to go to the screenings and give it a high score. So Bob was like, well, no, we haven't done that. Yeah, do another screening and don't tell me, where it is, completely secret place or whatever. And so that's what they did. And again, the test scores through the roof. So they knew at that point that they had a hit on their hands.
Yep, and a hit it was, because it became the #1 box office movie, the #1 hit single, and the #1 album, all in that same time space. And that is just absolutely phenomenal to hear the stories about that period in Prince's life, which like skyrocketed him into like superstardom like that, and just like, wow. It's interesting to hear that from like the behind the scenes part, rather than like the part that we've seen for most of Prince's life, where he's like, we've seen the movie, we've seen like maybe some like concert footage here and there that pop up of it, but more than that, we only have the album, the movie, and like that was it. So never really the behind the scenes look until people started actually talking about that.
Yeah. The other cool thing, we didn't mention the Bob Cavallo panel was hosted by Bobby Z from The Revolution. Yes. So it was Bobby Z asking the questions to Bob Cavallo. One other cool thing that was mentioned was that the inspiration for Paisley Park was actually came from Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yeah.
So Bob Cavallo and his fellow management people, they'd worked with Maurice White and Earth, Wind and Fire, and Prince had said, upon seeing the production facility, that they built a world-class production facility, and they had really great engineers there and whatnot, and Prince had told them, I want this in Minneapolis, and that's where the seed idea of Paisley Park came about. So that was really, really cool to hear.
That was such a like good panel, because it really shows how like Prince like put himself on the map right then and there, and I just like, I'd love to hear even more about that from like just different people, like the way that they felt about this. And yeah, it was just great. So I cannot wait to like read everyone's reviews and all that on that, because it was just amazing. Like, we've never really gotten this kind of behind the scenes look, and I really, really like that. So after that, I believe we had a concert screening, and this was concert. Well, I think we may have had lunch first, but then we're not going to talk in length about the lunch to you.
The food was this, and I drank a Coke.
So yeah, well, the fun thing about the food tent is that like they have a big screen in the back, and there's always like all these remastered Prince video clips playing, and that's really fun when you're sitting there and like you get to talk to people. But that's what lunch is. But you're not interested in that because it's lunch. We all have lunch every day. We're like dinner and all that. So.
Moving on to the concert screening.
Yeah, so this was a concert screening from the Musicology 2004 Ever Tour from, you can guess the year with that, 2004. Yep. And this was at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, and oh my god, it was so, like, it was incredible. Like, they showed...
Full pro shot Musicology tour footage from LA. You know the Musicology tour. John Blackwell on drums, Renato Neto, Chance Howard, lots of just incredible band.
You know what I really liked about that? They showed us a really big bit of like the acoustic set that he did, and he was so talkative. Like, he was just talking to the audience, like riffing off with them like that, just like going back and forth. And then at one point he like he told us a story, and he was like sitting there, he was like, so like the night before this, it went somewhere like this, like the night before some man came up to me like, and he was drunk, and then he repeated like drunk, and he said, oh yeah, I really like that song, Strawberry Beret.
So Prince is like, what? And then he starts playing Raspberry Beret on part of the acoustic set. If any of you were at the LA show, you probably remember this. Probably a very vivid memory of that night.
Let us know if you were.
So then he's singing Raspberry Beret in the acoustic set, and then when he gets to the chorus, he says Strawberry Beret after telling that story.
And you
about
can
the
hear
drum.
like all the audience laughing in the back, and he was just hilarious. There's like
So
talking
funny.
about like the football and all that. He's just, I love those kind of moments because during that tour, he just seemed so like chill and relaxed and playful with the audience, and just really, really nice. So I loved seeing that. That was
Great, just great quality. John Blackwell on the drums during Shh. Woo! If you know John Blackwell, R.I.P. John Blackwell, just incredible. Probably technically the best drummer that Prince ever had, and
he's amazing.
Incredible.
And such a great person as well. And it's just like, it's so sad. It's so weird to think that like of all the people that were in that footage, like 2 of them are no longer with us now, which is like so odd to think about, you know. So,
anyway, we cannot believe that there hasn't been a professional release of Musicology footage. Estate needs to get on that, release that Musicology tour highlights reel, whatever you have. Just go through all of it and make a compilation.
But do people still do DVDs and Blu-rays? I don't know. I basically grew up in like the middle of everything, so I grew up in like DVD age, and then it was like streaming and all that. But what I want is like a full-on DVD with every single concert ever on it. That must be such a huge file. They might have to sell that in like a hard disk format.
Yep.
But yeah, so that was incredible.
So then we had the second part of the tour.
Yeah.
Not going to talk too much about that because there's a ton of stuff online about the tour. Never really changes. The tour's the same.
It's basically the same.
So the second part of the tour this time around was the part where you go into the atrium and you go into all the different rooms, like the Love Sexy room and his office and the Diamonds and Pearls room, and etc. etc. So lots of content being created about the Paisley Park tour, so we don't really need to talk about that too much.
One more about that is that on that second part of the tour, they took us into what became his video editing booth. So that room has had loads of different functions over the years, but it was like the video editing booth in like the later on years, basically, from like somewhere in like the 90s, I guess, to like the very, very like last years of his life. And so that room is always like quite interesting to be in because it has like this really warm feeling to it, and you'll like find that if ever you like make it out to Paisley Park. It's such a nice and like cozy room to be in.
Yep. And then we had the highlight of the day, which was the Funk Soldiers concert. So Funk Soldiers is an MPG supergroup. You've got people like Kirk Johnson, Chance Howard, Renato Neto, Adrian Crutchfield, Shelby J, Kip Blackshire, Sly, all the MPG horns. Just incredible. And what they do, it's the same band from the big screen event, but doing their own set. And the really cool thing about the Funk Soldiers set is that they can play stuff from any era, and they specifically focus on stuff that you don't usually hear.
They played Old Friends for Sale.
Old Friends for Sale.
Wow.
Incredible.
That's such that's such to play the title track of that album, like that's such a great album, like by default, but wow, that was great to hear that live.
What else did they play? They played Shades of Umber, which is the unreleased full NPG horns, NPG orchestra track. They played Chelsea Rogers. That was incredible.
Black Muse
they played. Yep, that's right.
Days of Wild.
You Make My Sunshine, and Days of Wild, both of those. The Dance Electric they played. There was a really nice thing where they played Madhouse and got this like group of like young dancers, like a local like community group of dancers to dance along with Madhouse.
Super talented girls, like super talented group of dancers. I
always forget the names of the Madhouse tracks because they're all numbers, but the one that goes da 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 da, the one, the one that had a music
cool
video with the prison clip.
Yep.
I always forget the numbers.
That was super cool, and I think it's amazing that like they're doing that and they're like bringing young people in and like just like giving back to like the surroundings and like the culture and all that. And I think that was just incredible, and they were so talented. Like I really think that this group of girls is probably going to go on to like do way bigger things in life, so good on you. That was great. Absolutely fantastic.
So phenomenal performance by the Funk Soldiers, pulling out all the jams. What did they finish with? Do you remember?
Let me think. Paisley Park.
Yes. That was the closing Closing track.
Sorry if we're a bit like, what was that? We're
There's
like,
just so much happening. We're trying to remember it.
We're like, we're tired, but like we're trying to not be tired because Prince, he was never tired. He was like up till flipping 6 in the morning, still like laying tracks down and like fixing stuff and like playing guitar and all that. So
got out of Paisley around 10 o'clock. Headed straight in the car downtown to the Fine Line to see the MPG gig. As always, the MPG put on an absolutely fantastic performance. Not officially part of Celebration this year, but we're going to cover it a little bit anyway. Tamar was the special guest with the MPG.
She did Redhead Stepchild.
Redhead Stepchild, yeah.
She absolutely killed that. That was
the standout
amazing.
track from the unreleased Tamar album that she did with Prince. MPG did Love Thy Will Be Done, which was absolutely amazing to hear. Just great set. Get Off and Cream and all the kind of stuff that the original MPG does really, really well. So.
Like, wow, just everyone that has ever worked with Prince they're just all such amazing people. Like, you got to realize that, like, even if you've like seen Prince with them but like never seen them on their own, like they all have like this spirit, like a little bit of what Prince's spirit is like still in them, or like they carry that with them, and they're like so like well trained, they're like so funky, and they're like so like tight and just on the beat, and it's just amazing to listen to. Like, it's fantastic music. The
other cool thing with the MPG, although they do have their core sort of people that are always there, like Morris Hayes and Tony M, you do sometimes get different people filling in and taking up different spots. So every other time we've seen the MPG, it's been with Sonny on bass, but Sonny was on tour somewhere else. And so what was really cool is they got Josh Dunham, who was, if you remember, he was part of the 21 Nights band. So that was really cool to have Josh there with them. Obviously Tamar as a special guest, but then Levi as well. So Levi plays with the MPG. As far as my understanding is that he plays with them in the US States, but he doesn't really like to travel. So all the other times we've seen MPG has been in London, and so Levi's never been with them on the international shows that we've seen. But so it was really cool to see Levi, very important contributor to Prince's sound around that time. So that was really, really cool.
So you talking about 21 Nights, that leads into our... I need to do that again. So you talking about 21 Nights, that leads into the next bit of our video perfectly. That was today, day 4. We had to get up really early because we were on the early track today. But the first thing that we got to see when we went to Paisley was footage of 21 Nights in London, but not just the show. You were actually at that show when it happened.
Yeah, so peep this. We get into Paisley today, day 4. JD Steele, who has been the host of the show, tells us we're going to see footage from 21 Nights in London, and then he kind of drops the moment that just hit me, just like smacked me upside the head. He said 14th of August. Now, that's a date that is fully seared into my memory, because not only is that a show that I was at, I saw about 5 main shows, but the reason why 14th of August is so important to me is because that is the night that I met Prince.
How crazy is that? Like, that's just...
Of all the dates they could have shown, any of the 21 Nights, if they were going to show any 21 Nights footage, somehow they landed on that one, the exact show where I met Prince. I think, as I recall, it was the 3rd show that I'd seen. Could have been the 2nd. It could have been the 2nd, but I think it was the 3rd of the 5. I'm pretty sure I saw 5 main shows.
Any idea how many at night that was?
No idea.
I have no idea. Well, we'll look it up and put it like in the description of this video, how many that was. So for everyone that like was at the 21 Nights in London when they happened, let us know, like, anyone that's from Europe and that watches our videos, like, let us know if you were actually there on like any of the nights and like which dates and all that, and like, but that was incredible. Like, the really important thing about that show is that he opened with 1999, which he hadn't played since Rave Into the Year 2000, so 8 years before. He hadn't played 1999 in a very, very long time. And I remember sitting there in the audience with my friend Jez, who's actually here at Celebration as well, and I remember him turning to me and saying, do you think he'll play 1999? And I said, well, he hasn't played it since
rave into the year 2000. So I don't know. Not likely. And then the lights go down, and all you hear is "Don't worry, I won't hurt." And I'm just like, "Oh my god, you're killing me right now, Prince."
I'm guessing that's probably why they pulled that one out, because that would have been such an iconic moment from him, like going from like the 90s into the 2000s, and then finally, like after 1999, actually, like for the first time, he played that again. And she's like, "What? After so many years?" I was like, "What?" I just like, yeah, that was an incredible show to watch, and it was really nicely shot as well. Like, again, multi-camera footage, so like I love this kind of stuff. Like, I feel like almost every single Prince concert ever was taped in some kind of way, and I think also most of his rehearsals were, so we're in for like a whole bunch of treats, I think.
Yeah. So very cool for me specifically to be watching back that show that I was at. I'm sure other people had the same experience with the LA Musicology show. There was probably a few people in the house who were at that LA Musicology show. So that was really, really cool. Just it's still like freaking me out thinking about it. And it was only today, so I'm still not processing it all just
and he
yet.
was just like so happy and so in his element, like with his big band and the cymbal stage, and like every time I was like looking at that cymbal stage on the screen, I was like, that's quite a small stage, like on the screen, you're not gonna like drop off that. But I'm so surprised he never like fell off that stage.
It was a very big stage in real life, let me tell you.
It doesn't look that big on the screen.
It was huge. It was huge. It took up the whole middle of the arena.
Because otherwise you wouldn't be able to like have dancers and all that. But I love that stage shape. Like I love that he like had a cymbal stage. I just love that. It's like so like mad to think about, but then it's also like a genius idea to just have that as your stage, because in a way you like get to every part of like the front row of your audience, and you can just like walk to anyone, and like anyone can get like a close-up shot of you.
Well,
like,
it means there's no bad seats in an arena, because it's fully in the round, so no matter where you sit, he's going to be walking around and going to every part of the stage.
I think that's genius. I think that's a really good idea.
It is. And the band are in the pit of the circle bit of the symbol.
And then like the rest of like the dancers and like the walking around people, so like the background singers obviously also like walking around. That was great. And obviously the twins were dancing, and they're just great. They had like blonde wigs on, I guess.
Yep.
That was great. I love that.
So after we saw that 21 Nights footage, we were greeted by another surprise. Well, not much of a surprise, because actually we knew about it, but it was still very, very cool.
Yeah.
Our good friend, Dwayne Tudal, author of Prince and the Purple Rain era studio sessions, who, if you've been watching our channel for a while, you might remember that we interviewed Dwayne. If you haven't seen that, go click on the channel at some point, watch our interview with Dwayne. He came out to host the Revolution panel talk.
So one little shout out to Dwayne here. If you haven't read that book yet, or you haven't been able to like get your hands on it, make sure that you do, because it's so super informative. Like, he's done so much research, and it's such a fantastic book.
It's genuinely like one of the best Prince books you could possibly read. And also there is a quote by some people on the back of the book called The Violet Reality. I don't know who they are, but they were very complimentary about the
Shameless
book.
Plug there, but yeah, but like I'm just saying, like if you haven't read it, just like, and if you're a really big music fan, or like if you're a really big Prince fan in general, which you most likely are if you're watching our channel, it's so worth like just reading or like just having it, so that whenever you're listening to these tracks, or like whenever you want to like look up something about a track that maybe hasn't come out, you can just read it and like get some more information about it. It's great.
Yep.
So yeah, the Revolution panel. So one thing that I'd really like to say is I really, really love how like funny Lisa is. Like, Lisa's absolutely hilarious. I like love her sense of humor.
She doesn't talk that much, but when she does, she is just always very witty.
She is, yeah. I
love Lisa.
Yeah.
She's great. I love all of the Revolution.
Yeah.
So to just see them, right up close, Wendy, Lisa, Brown Mark, Dr. Fink, Bobby Z, just really, really cool, talking about their individual relationships with Prince. Probably the coolest thing that I recall from their talk today was Wendy said that they had names for different versions of Prince's personality. So actually very in line with what Morris Hayes said in our interview with him, where he said that he didn't know which Prince he would be getting day to day. So the Revolution apparently actually had different names for different versions of Prince they would get day to day. One of them being Marilyn Monroe.
It's like, that would have been the like well-dressed sassy one, I guess. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I think they said it wasn't going to be a super fun day if Marilyn Monroe showed up.
It's like,
probably quite demanding, diva-ish side of him. But their favorite one was called Steve.
Yep.
So Steve was the Prince that would just show up at Wendy and Lisa's house and hang out and talk music and watch movies with them and just be a normal guy.
And then in the middle of the night asked them if they could get the cat, because apparently Prince didn't really like the cats that they had, and so like cats will always go to people that don't necessarily like them that much. Like that's what cats do. Cats are like the nicest things on earth, but they're also like massive assholes. They will just stalk you if you don't like them. Yep. So what the cat used to do is just like lay on like his chest whenever he was sleeping, and then he would like be calling one of them and be like, "Go get the cat," and then he would just be awake all night like playing the piano and stuff like that. So yeah, that was really funny to me. For some reason, whenever cats are mentioned, I always remember that. But the interesting thing about that is later on, he did like have Paisley the cat around Paisley, so he must have like started liking cats, or like, you know.
Probably didn't have them as probably want them in his like personal space.
I guess,
but it's fine to have one wandering around. The complex.
Yeah. Cats are pretty much in your face when they like when they want to be annoying. So I guess.
I think Lisa also said that he woke up in the middle of the night when he was staying at Wendy and Lisa's place and went to the piano and started playing the music from Jaws, like do 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 do.
Well, that's fun when you're asleep. You have like, so it's like, what are you doing?
It's like soundtrack to your dreams. Now you're going to be dreaming about getting eaten by a giant shark.
Now you'll have a nightmare. You're welcome. He was just like that shows like a side of him, like just being like this sort of person that's not like the mysterious kind of person that he always was to the world, but like this like guy that would just come to your house and like sit on the floor and like eat food and like talk with you for hours and hours and hours. That was great. I love that.
Yeah, just really, really cool.
Yeah.
The Revolution, the panel talks, they're split so not everybody sees them at the same time.
No.
And as you can imagine, the Revolution have so many memories of Prince that somebody who was in one of the other Revolution panel talks, like after or before we saw the panel talk, told us that everything they said, like it was completely different story. So like,
you have like
some of the panel talks with other people, you'll probably mostly hear the same thing, but the Revolution will just sit there and whatever memories come to mind or whatever questions they're being asked, wherever that leads them to, they'll find stuff from it. And it's probably not always going to be the same stuff because they have so many different memories with him.
So whilst we're recording this, some people are still out at Paisley, the people that are on track too. So they'll probably have like different stories about the Revolution panel as well. So everyone, like, it's going to be such a like nice output of like a bunch of like videos and vlogs and stuff about loads of different memories, and maybe like stuff that you didn't know before, because we didn't know about that cat story, and that was really nice.
That's true.
So so it's quite awesome to like have sort of like people split up into different groups and then like read about stuff that you didn't get to actually hear later on. I think that's quite awesome the way that they've done that.
They were asking, Dwayne asked them things like, were you surprised when he said that he was going to do a movie? And they said not really, because they'd already gotten used to the fact that if he said something, like that thing would just happen, right? Like people, he just had that way of getting things done with the people that surrounded him.
They were basically like the kind of band that like no matter what sort of like wild idea he had, they would always have his back and always do it with him. And I think that's how like, they went from like being quite this like smaller sort of group that was like, like Prince was like famous but not like megastar famous. Like the megastar fame came after Purple Rain. That rhymed. So
Wendy said that the Revolution, the Purple Rain, kind of this version of the Revolution, they felt like that group of people was important because it was a group of people who were his peers. So if he didn't know something, they would help him. They would all learn from each other, basically. Whereas I guess all of Prince's bands are obviously all incredible, but later on in his career, he obviously, just by the nature of how it works, he was the experienced one, or for the most part the most experienced one, and teaching the other people. Whereas with the Revolution, they were in a position where they were all becoming famous and successful
At the same
together,
time,
and
yeah.
all learning things
Yep.
from each other. So that's really important.
Yeah, so
I
that's
think.
why that's so interesting to like hear their stories about that, because it's such like a different perspective. Like every single band that Prince has ever like worked with, or they all have different stories and different perspectives, because it's at different points in his life and it's like different like things. So like, you know, like Purple Rain obviously was really big with the public, but then you also have like a band like the MPG, and then you have like the like things like the Love Sim album and all that, and I'm like, it's just like so interesting to like hear these different perspectives, like different times in his life, and I don't think I'll ever grow tired of like hearing about his life. Like he had so many people that he's worked with, and he has done so many amazing things in his life. Like just so many. Like you can't even count it. It's just like incredible. And I don't think we'll ever stop like finding out new things about him, because there's just so much to know and to learn, and it's just wow. Just
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So moving on from the Revolution panel, we were moved into the from the soundstage into the MPG Music Club
Yep.
room, and we had another panel talk by the Funk Soldiers.
Yep.
Now, obviously, we've already talked to you about the Funk Soldiers performance. So the panel talk was from Kirk Johnson, Chance Howard, Sly, and Renato Neto.
Yeah.
So 4 people that all came into Prince's world at completely different times. Kirk obviously there since very early on. Sly only there, since very recently, last few years of Prince's life, and Renato came in around kind of early 2000s,
Yeah.
and same with Chance. So that was really interesting to hear all their different stories about all their relationships with Prince on a professional and personal levels, and what they learned from him. Kirk talked quite a bit about the Funky Bald Heads project, which is really cool. I don't know how much anyone watching this knows about that project, but it was a very cool project.
Yeah.
They actually opened for Prince in the early 2000s on some tours. That was a band that Kirk had put together.
Yep.
So that was really cool to hear about that. Renato obviously comes from Brazil and has a very sort of jazz, sort of classical keyboard way of playing.
His
Came
stories
on
were
board
super
on the-
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, came on
Because
board
he-
around musicology and stuff, and
He was telling us about how, Prince, every time he would just, as a keyboard player, any keyboard players or, musicians that watch our channel, as a keyboard player, what you do is, play with your sound, and then you try to figure out what the right sound is, or, what fits into a song. But then, sometimes he said that he would just, be playing sound, and then, just playing something, and Prince was like, great, that sounds great.
Use that one,
You,
yeah.
do you know the track of that? And he would always be like, no, I can, And so what he started doing is, later on, he said he started, plugging, taking the cables out of the keyboard and slamming on it just to be able to do the
say, "Oh,
take.
something went wrong with the keyboard.
Yeah,
We
it's
have to
sorry."
take a break and change the sound while I fix it."
That's really funny.
He said that was the
I
only way
remember
to
that,
get
yeah.
his sound changed.
Yep.
So that was really funny. Yeah, interesting stuff. Chance is really funny as well. Chance is such a great guy. He said that he told us this story about how he'd been playing with the Time for a number of years.
Yeah.
And eventually he goes to Paisley and just goes straight up to Prince and be like, "So when are you gonna give me a shot to be in your band?" And Prince says, "I'll race you to the other side of the room and back, and if you win the race, you can be in the band." And so Chance takes off running, and Prince starts running, and he stops, and he's just cracking up laughing. It's just a giant joke to see if he would actually do it. So that was really funny.
But then he did get into the band,
He
so
did get into the band, so-
it turned out. Okay.
Yeah. So that was a really cool panel. Then we had our meal. Excuse me. Then we had our meal break of the day, and then the finale, which was the concert by the Revolution.
Amazing.
The finale of Celebration 2019, concert by the Revolution. Absolutely phenomenal.
Super emotional as well, especially when this is something that you will already know when I was talking about this, but they did Purple Rain, and it was just super emotional that. The way they do it is really, really respectful, which I really like, because they make the audience sing with them, and then the audience is louder than them, which kind of makes it like our song as the fan base, if that makes sense. Like that's what Prince used to always do as well, like made the audience sing as loud as they could with him, and then it was just like amazing. And they literally tore the roof off the house because the ceiling was coming down.
Yeah, a bit of ceiling came down during the performance.
Yeah.
Just, and Stokely from Mint Condition, again with them as he usually is. Incredible vocalist. Just, we love Stokely, we love Mint Condition, so always great to see him with them. Songs they did, obviously Purple Rain, 1999, Mountains, that was really cool. But I think my favourite part was Brown Mark's bass solo.
Yes.
Brown Mark just made the most ridiculously funky bass solo. The guy is just killer.
It could have gone on for like another 5-10 minutes if
yeah, he's just the best. He's just so funky.
Wow, that was a great show. It was such a wow. I'm like, I cannot even speak anymore because of like how tired I am. So we're just going on like sleep deprivation and emotions and like happiness, but then also like sadness, and it's just like, but you know.
Yeah, they run through the final 3 songs of Purple Rain, like in the movie. So they do Purple Rain, and they go into I Would Die For You, and then Baby I'm a Star.
Yep.
Just, I mean, what can you say? Seeing the revolution, being right at the front, just looking up at like Wendy and Brown Mark and Stokely at the front.
And then like looking at the building around you and thinking like, I'm in Paisley Park. Like Prince created so much of his like songs and working, and he probably released like a whole bunch of tours and stuff on this soundstage, and like Graffiti Bridge was shot in this place, and just it's so like overwhelming in a sense. Like, but I would say that for anyone that hasn't been yet, when you feel like you're ready to go, like don't push yourself if you're not ready yet, because it's going to be very emotional for you. But when you feel like it's time for you and you're ready to go there, I would definitely like visit Paisley at least once in your life, because it's gonna like, you know, it will help you give him passing away a little bit more of a place, because you see what sort of like environment he used to work in, and like where he used to live for like the last couple of where he used to live for like the last bit of his life as well. Like that was his living quarters, and he was like in the kitchen there, and he had like a little living room space and all that. So it will really give you way more of a perspective of like the kind of person he was, and it's just it's really worth going.
It's 100% worth a trip if you can make it out to Paisley, not just at Celebration, but at any time. You will just meet so many wonderful people. And before we finish this video, I just want to say to anyone that's watching, so many people over the last 4 days came up to us and said that they watch our videos. And I'm not saying that as like a braggy thing to be like, oh, everybody watches our videos. I'm saying that because we are still genuinely surprised that anyone watches our videos. We upload every video, we think, is anybody actually going to watch this thing? And we're super grateful for every single view and every single comment that we get, and we really do read every single one. Just to have people, like seeing people say, look, I planned my trip around the guide video that you made, or you know, I didn't know if I was going to go, and then you know made the blog posts and the videos about what you were looking forward to seeing, and that kind of stuff. That was just intense for us. Thank you so much, everyone. And I also this is something that we never actually do, but I feel like I have to do it because most of the other YouTubers and like people that have podcasts and bloggers are all here in Minneapolis. So make sure that you also definitely go check out all of their reviews and all of their like blogs and videos and podcasts and everything, because there's so much good stuff out there. Like we have such an amazing community of like content creators about Prince, and the fact that everyone still does that after he passed away to like keep his legacy going is just amazing to me. And so I just wanted to give you all the shout out. We love all of you, and we just we really love being part of this like family, and just every single Prince fan is just so nice and so great, and just Yep, and we just want to give a massive shout out, not just to the people that we met there, other Purple fans, but to the estate. They were present. The people from Sony were around, who've been handling the reissues. The family, we got to spend some time with Sharon and with Omar over the last few days. Just really grateful for all the hard work that everyone's putting in
Also,
Trevor
yeah.
from Paisley Park, Trevor Guy. Thank you, Trevor. All the tour guides, all the staff at Paisley. Tommy was our tour guide this time, and he was very, very cool, and just really, really great to have the tour from him. All the tour guides that helped out were just all so lovely to us. Literally too many people to name, but all of you know, if you work at Paisley, who saw us in the last few days and had conversations with us, we are so grateful, and for all of you. You work so hard, and it's
you certainly do.
You make that place what it is now. So.
So and last but not least, and I already sort of half did that just now, but shout out to just all of the fans and like how you've supported him and loved him for like so many years, and you continue doing this. Like, this really became so clear to me when after we came out of Paisley, we went to like the tunnels, like the little walkway that's there, and there's like so many murals and stuff, and it's just amazing. Like, there's so much writing like in the tunnels, and it's all like stuff about Prince, and it's still there, and it's just so much love. And just I want to end on that note. So like, Prince, we love you so much. Thank you for everything. And
one more shout out, Katie and Bree, who work with the PR and marketing of Celebration. Thank you so much as well. So and now we'll do our proper final thank you.
I just did the final. This is what you get when you're like making vlog style videos, because we're most likely not going to edit a lot of this, and I don't know if you like this format, because this is just like us.
It's a raw stream of consciousness, just like you would get from Prince. So on that note, thank you,
Prince. We love you. Thank you, everyone that like watches us, came up to us, all of the content creators, all of like the people behind the scenes, people in Prince's bands, people that he worked with, people that he was with, just everyone. Thank you so much, and we love you all. And
hopefully we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
With a Violet Reality. That was our recap of day 3 and 4 of Celebration 2019. Peace out.
We're gonna go to sleep now. Goodbye. Bye.